Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Parenting and You with me, Dr. Shefali. This episode is all about teenagers. I haven't met a parent yet who hasn't struggled with their teen. Do you know why? It's because teenagehood is one of the most challenging times, both for the child and for the parent. In this episode, I'm going to be showing parents what they do wrong consistently and what they can do right in order to create the deepest connection with their teenagers. So if you're a parent of a preteen or a teen, then this episode is really going to help you. Coming up next, a mother who is struggling with her teen son. Her 15-year-old son is smoking weed and vaping, and she is losing her mind. Joining me now is Pamela, a mom who is so upset because her 15-year-old son is experimenting, smoking weed, and she feels that he's out of control. Hi, Pamela. Welcome. Tell us what's going on.
Well, I have a 15-year-old son, by all means, pretty typical. He does have ADHD, so we deal with that as well. He's extremely impulsive. So he has just been experimenting with vaping, which seems to be everywhere, and smoking pot, mainly through what they call carts, so through vaping. And it seems extremely accessible for kids. So that's what I'm dealing with. It's just a constant tension at home. I'm a widow, so it's just me. And I feel like I am hyper vigilant over this. My husband's side of his family has had some addiction issues in the past, mainly with alcohol. So I think that plays into it. And I'm just having trouble deciphering between normal teen behavior and experimenting and what to do about that. And then, it starting to be excessive.
Okay, so before we move forward, I have a few questions. Number one, how long have you been a widow?
Almost 8 years. It'll be 8 years this year.
Okay, so your son was about 6 years old when you're...
Yes, just turning 7.
Okay, so that's important to note for some reasons, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And the second question I have is, how is his vaping influencing the rest of his life? Is he distracted? Is he not motivated? Is he not going to school or performing well at school? His social life?
Well, he's a good student. I mean, he is naturally bright, so I feel like he doesn't have to put a lot of effort in at this point to get solid A's and high B's. So he is maintaining those. He just started his 10th grade year. So far, so good. His social life, I feel like he's doing this with the kids that he's hanging around with. So I'm not overly, in love with these children. But no, I mean, he can be quite argumentative. And, as I believe most kids with ADHD can fly off the handle pretty easily. He doesn't have a lot of emotion control. To make that worse, I'm an adult with ADHD. I was diagnosed as an adult. So, that plays into it too. So I feel like we both but yes, he is going to school. He never skips classes or anything like that now.
When we're talking about vaping, are we talking about everyday use? Are we talking about, what are we talking about in terms of, is it once in a while or is it now a daily habit? So in effect, your child is a smoker, right? So putting it in a different way. So what is the frequency of this?
Well, I don't know, because he doesn't admit, even if I catch him, he doesn't admit to it. So I don't really know. I feel like I smell it quite a bit. There are times where I have smelled it every day. And then there are times where I don't smell it for a while. So I don't know if it's a matter of him being able to get a hold of it or,
yes,
not of age or how that, what that situation is. So I don't really know. That's part of it. And I don't know, am I blowing this out of proportion thinking he's doing this every waking moment?
Okay, so here's the thing. Because we don't know and because we're hypervigilant, as we should be as parents of teenagers, because it is anxiety provoking, all the threats that are out there, what we end up doing, and tell me if you're doing this, is we end up carping and complaining and nagging and over hovering, thinking that that's going to do something. Are you vaping? Why are you vaping? Can you not vape? We think that is helpful. Have you been doing that?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Okay, so that is not helpful. As you see, that kind of inquisition and sleuthing and, constantly harping on something, that only creates disconnection. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. I feel like we were always extremely close. I feel like we're completely disconnected right now.
And how long would you say you've been disconnected?
Probably a year and a half, I would say. I would say since he got into his teens, there's been some, disconnection.
Okay. And how much processing and healing have you all done around the death of his father, your husband?
We have gone to counseling. My children are in counseling now. So I go to counseling on and off as needed, pretty regularly. I feel like he has not processed it. He is not really, he's very quiet about it. And sometimes he will make comments that, make me realize that it is a deep hurt for him, that he is still feeling this deeply. But he has not been very open with counseling, talking about it.
Okay, so what I will tell you is that, of course, children express and manifest risky behaviors in teenagehood. This is a given. We all know it. And he's not unusual in that. He has certain risk factors, though, that make his situation a little bit more potentially precarious. And I want people to understand, yes, when you have a teenager, expect risk-taking behavior. Just expect it. However, we also have to understand and be aware that the risk-taking behavior often is a mask of something deeper going on. And in his situation, given that his father passed away at a very pivotal age of his life, 6, 7, just as he was finishing his early childhood, he was very vulnerable to that loss, very vulnerable to that pain. And he may be using these drugs as a way to cope, as a way to soothe, as a way to create some inner peace and harmony that he doesn't feel naturally. So he's creating a surrogate way of creating that temporary sense of peace and relief that he's not feeling on his own. So he has some risk factors in addition. And then number 3, because your style till now has been to investigate and inquisition, that has created even more disconnection. And so he's lost his mother and that connection as well. So here's what we need to do. We need to change our way of approaching him, but we don't need to change our concern. This is concerning. You said to my producers that you see vape pens all over the place. So this indicates that this is more of a frequent use and it's not a one-off. So this is a red flag. And when we have red flag behaviors, we need to be concerned, but we need to manifest that concern in a very constructive way. Otherwise, our concern will create more disconnection. Your concern and care is well placed, but it is misguided in its manifestation and it's creating disconnection. So let's take that care and repivot it to something that will actually work. And here's something I suggest. I think you need to clearly let him know that your ways of trying to show care have been wrong and you are deeply sorry. You see that your ways has created disconnection and you are committed to finding a new path forward. You need to express to him that you are a mother who is deeply anxious. You're a mother who's never been here before, never raised a 15-year-old son before. I think you need to show him that you are extremely vulnerable in this anxiety and that you are aware that your anxiety has come out in all these controlling ways and now he has shut down. You're aware that he is in pain and that he may be using these drugs as a way to cover up for his pain. And you need to express that you are sorry, that you have not been concerned enough to touch on his pain. You've only been focusing on his behavior. That's what we do, you see. We focus on the bad behavior, but we don't understand that the bad behavior is covering up a deep emotional pain, which you're missing. You're not treating the pain. You're just trying to eradicate the behavior. Who cares about the behavior at the end of the day? Because tomorrow he'll find another way to take care of his pain. So the pain is what we need to take care of. And if we don't take care of the pain, the next manifestation will show up in a different way because he's coping. So here's what I suggest. We need to go to his therapist and we need to have a family meeting and we need to express that this cannot continue because this is now going to be dangerous for his health. So we need to find a new way to treat his pain. And he may need to go to an inpatient treatment center to really deal with the deep-rooted causes of his pain. Because this angle that you're taking, every day complaining, shouting, screaming, telling him that he can't do this is not the answer. You're telling him he can't do something actually creates more disconnection and actually drives him to the same behavior, you see? So here's what you need to do. Have a family meeting with the therapist. Be very clear that you understand that your way has been the wrong way. You are aware that he's in pain and that you're so sorry that you haven't been able to help him with his pain, but you're trying your best. Number 4, treatment needs to occur for the inner pain, and the vaping cannot be the way he treats his pain. So however that looks, whether he goes away to detox or that he stays home, but then is under a different treatment plan with you as his partner and his guide, this is the only way forward. You doing this as a controlling parent is the wrong way to go. You have to change from control to compassion and treatment and healing. Control is never the answer.
No. And logically, I do know that. And I have, I have recognized, like I said, that he is in pain. And I mean, after my husband died, I was so just wanting to do things. I literally have gone back to school to study psychology. I'm now almost finishing a degree in psychology because that's how invested I am in all of this. So I have looked into inpatient treatments. My fear with that has been, am I overreacting? And will he feel more abandoned if I send him away rather than dealing with this at home? And
so let me address that. You have a beautiful heart, and that is going to actually come into play now. So your years of psychology, your coming to this podcast shows how willing you are to put yourself out there and do whatever it takes. So your heart is perfectly in place. Number 2, if you think that we should send him away, that's not what I'm saying. We should never send our children away because you're right, they will feel abandoned. What we need to do is work with a therapist to help him see that may be the best thing for him. So, I do individual consultations. I have coaches in my institute that you could hire. We need a systemic approach, a family approach, where he feels empowered to make the right choice for himself. Right now, he's just hiding from you. He's not showing up as his true self in the house. He's using these drugs and this friend group, this peer group, as a way to escape. And he's really disconnecting from you and from himself through the use of these drugs. So a systemic family approach that focuses on getting him the right treatment is the next step. You are absolutely correct that this is a red flag behavior. I'm so glad you came today because many parents listening will relate and go, oh my goodness, my kid is hiding from me too. My kid is out vaping as well. I smell it on him and I'm feeling disempowered. I don't know what to do. So you're actually helping them, and I'm giving you all a treatment plan. We don't force our children to go away, but we need to force them if their behaviors continue and if the red flags become flaming bombs, right? What if your kid now uses this as a gateway to the next drug? So you're right in being anxious. You're just wrong in how it's manifesting as care, right? Your control is not going to be the answer. So let's create a treatment plan with your therapist. We don't take our foot off the gas. Your child is in trouble. It could be the gateway to more addictions. So we need to nip it in the bud now. But how we do it is through connection, not through control. So your vulnerability in treatment with him, telling him, I am so sorry I have failed you. You are right in feeling isolated and judged. I have judged you because I've not known what to do. And when he sees your pain, at least he will realize that he has an ally, not an adversary. You see, many of our children begin to think of us as enemies when we're only trying to help. And the reason they see us as enemies is because we're coming from judgment, we're coming from shaming, we're coming from control. So he sees you now as his enemy, and we need to change that into him seeing you as an imperfect, flawed, but very loving and devoted parent, right? He's not seeing that right now. So a treatment, a therapy that's geared to that is your next step.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but your intuition is correct. This is a red flag. You should be concerned. You need to help him with the right tools. Your approach has just been the wrong one. It's been control, and we now need to shift it to compassion, empathy, and healing.
One question is, I am working with a therapist for him. He does have a therapist, and we've talked about when he is, when I do catch him doing, when I do walk in his room and I clearly smell it or I see it, or, we've created a contract. So he feels, with him. So he feels like he has a say in consequences. So he has a say in making the decisions.
Good. Now you need to follow through with the therapist helping you both. And I don't know what the consequences are, but whatever it is, we need to show him that he's creating the consequences on his own. And now we need to execute them in some way. But let me tell you, if the treatment doesn't touch the heart, doesn't touch your heart and make you enter that heart and show your vulnerability to your child, it won't allow him to enter his pain so that he can enter his vulnerability. The treatment is just going to be about strategy and consequences, but it won't be about healing. So you need to find the right therapist who helps you both enter your pain, because your answer lies in exploring and healing the pain. It's not about the vaping. The vaping is the mechanism he's using to handle his terrible inner reality, which is pain. So understand that we're not treating the pain right now. If you were treating the pain, he himself would have broken down by now. He would be sobbing in his mother's arms by now. You would be sobbing. Now we're making a gateway to healing. As long as we're making contracts and just talking words, we're not healing the pain. So just keep that in mind. Put that on your fridge. Heal the pain. Right now, nobody's healing the pain. That's why the vaping will continue. The vaping is a surrogacy for him to use, to hold on to deal with his pain. But the real pain hasn't been dealt with yet.
That makes total sense.
Okay, so we can help you find the right therapist, but the foot has to be on the pedal of healing. Right now, it's on the pedal of control.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, thank you so much for joining. I know that what you've expressed here is something so many parents are going to relate with. So thank you for your vulnerability today.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate it. You've been a great help.
Thank you. That really touched my heart. I see this play out in so many homes. Our kids act out in all sorts of negative ways. They do all sorts of destructive behaviors, especially when they're teenagers. And we as parents, we panic over the behaviors. But here's the missing piece. We forget that underneath the behaviors is a whole lot of inner pain that the child just doesn't know how to express. And that's what we saw in this last story as well. If you've been listening, what you need to take away is that children act out in certain ways to disguise their inner pain. As long as we parents focus on the behavior and not the pain, we will not heal our children. Coming up next, a mother who is struggling with her 18-year-old's desire for independence because the mother is so worried and she cannot let go just yet. Joining me now is Mirari, a mom who is struggling with her 18-year-old. She says that her 18-year-old is too independent and she's pulling away from her, and Mirari wants to be more involved in her teen's life. Hello, Mirari. Tell us what's going on.
Hi, Dr. Shefali. So she likes to plan trips. She recently went to Mexico, came back, and I don't know, when where is the line in between not having too much control over her and letting her be, or her crossing boundaries, if you know what I mean, if that.
Right. So you're wondering, where is the line between letting her be more of who she wants to be, but you are scared that she may be crossing too many boundaries, and where is that line between you feeling like you're in control and involved?
Yeah, correct. She's 18, so once she turned 18, it was like, okay, Mom, I'm an adult. And she has gone to festivals, and she just came back from Mexico. And just, I guess it's more feared of, she's still too young, and I don't know all of her friends.
Right.
And yeah.
So I know you mentioned to our producers that your great fear was that she could be manipulating you. So talk about that a little bit.
For example, I will bring her up. I will bring the situation up, and she will say, this is the thing. I don't know. I'm confused. I do not know if she is doing that or I am understanding. I'm like listening and like, oh, okay, I understand exactly what she's saying. And I don't know if later on my mind kicks in and it's like, no, that's not how it is. What if you're not really controlling her enough? What if you're not letting her respect you the way you?
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So in the moment when you're with her, you feel a sense of trust and you feel connected and you feel, okay. But then when you leave her, another voice shows up, and that voice makes you doubt yourself, because that voice says, oh, I think she's trying to manipulate you. I think she's trying to control you. I think she's only doing this to get her way. Whose voice is that in your life? When you were growing up, who had that voice?
I'm not sure. Could be grandma, could be my mom.
Right. And so inside you then get confused about what is the truth. So let me ask Mirari, and this is for everyone out there who experiences confusion. So many people don't know what to do or don't know what to feel. And my advice to them is always this one thing. Go really silent right now with me. Go deep inside your heart. Just be really quiet. Still your mind and ask yourself, what do I believe about my child? Do I believe she's a manipulator, or do I believe in her? Do I believe that she and I can have a good connection, or do I believe that she's just manipulating me and getting her way? Which one do I really believe? What's the answer that comes up for you?
Definitely the one I can trust her.
Okay. You, in your deepest heart, is a voice that says you can trust her. Okay. Correct. So when you lean into this voice, let's just lean into this voice of trust. Okay. So what do you feel when you lean into the voice of trust? When you imagine your daughter from this place in your heart, what are the feelings that show up toward her?
I feel happy for her because she is a free spirit. She has this like strong personality, and she plans and she trusts herself. She's not scared. She's fearless.
Beautiful. You feel like she has a free spirit. You feel like you feel excited for her. So holding on to this feeling right now, what are some ways that you would respond to her? What would you say to her? So suppose she comes up to you and goes, Mommy, I'm going to go for a rock festival and I'm going to be gone for 3 nights and I'm so excited. Now, coming from this place of feeling excitement for her, what would you say to her in reaction?
Be careful, stay safe, don't drink and drive.
Okay, so now look at what you just said. I asked you to stay in excitement, and look what came out of your mouth. Do you think you expressed excitement for her free spirit, or you just expressed anxiety?
Right.
Okay,
I do feel very excited for her, and I love her personality, very outgoing. She's free spirit, like I said, but I do have that.
Exactly.
Fear.
But look where you went. I came with excitement as an 18-year-old. I thought you were going to be excited because you told me you love my free spirit. And all you did was this, okay? So now I want you to be her. Be her in excitement right now. Just do as I did. Mommy, I'm going here. I'm so excited. Do that and watch what you did in response, okay? I'm going to be you.
Renee, Mom, I am going to a festival again. We're going to be staying over at an Airbnb close to the venue. I'm coming with all of my friends.
Okay, I need you to be safe. I need you to protect yourself. I need you to come back on time, and I need you to call me, okay? Now, do you see the disconnect?
Yeah, totally.
You're not expressing any excitement, nor are you expressing any trust. What do you think you're really expressing in those moments?
Fear.
Exactly. And it's okay to have fear, but what do you think that does to the connection?
It breaks it.
It breaks it. Do you think I, as an 18-year-old girl, want to come and tell you things if all you're going to do is be such a Debbie Downer, right? I don't want to come to you. Now, let's see it a different way. Okay, I'm going to show you a different way that you can express your fear, but by first connecting to her. So you be excited, do it again, and I'm going to show you how you can respond in a way that connects to her and also connects to yourself. Go ahead.
Like if I was hurt again?
Yes, you be her.
My name, I'm leaving again. I'm going to a new festival.
Oh my goodness, where are you going? Tell me. Where is this festival? I want to come. Where is it?
It's going to be in Mexico. It's going to be 3 days. I'm going with all my friends. We already have the place to stay.
Oh my goodness, that sounds so amazing. Are you super excited?
I am. I'm very excited. It's going to be so much fun.
I totally can imagine how much fun it's going to be. I really want you to enjoy. But later, like a few days before you leave, can you and I have a talk about all my mommy worries? You know your mother's a control freak and I get so worried. So will you help me just understand the logistics a little bit later?
Of course so.
Okay, because I really want you to go. I really want you to enjoy because I trust you and I know how smart you are and I know how well you can protect yourself. But I'm a worrywart. I'm a control freak. So just later, in a few days, will you sit with me and help me with my anxieties?
Okay, Mommy.
So now what did you see me do here? What did you see?
You got involved in the excitement of my daughter.
I was meeting her in the moment. I got involved with her excitement. I was mirroring her emotional state. I was also telling her I trust her and I was empowering her. And the most important thing I did, Mirari, is I owned my own worry. I didn't put it on her. I owned my own worry and I said, can you please help me? Because I'm a worrywart. I'm a control freak. It's not you. You're amazing. I trust you. I'm just crazy. Can you help me? And then you asked for help later. So you didn't rob her of her moment, you see? You let her have her moment and you communicated excitement for her.
I can see that. Yeah.
You can see that?
I can see how all of my fear and worry, instead of keeping it to myself, I want her to worry and be scared so she don't do it.
Exactly.
She won't do it because I think it's dangerous over there. But deep down, I'm like, yeah, you should go explore.
Yes.
I thank you.
And many of us parents give these mixed messages. You see, we want our children to explore, but we actually don't want them to explore, right? So then they are so confused. And on one hand, we say, go be independent, make your own mistakes, find your true self. And then from the other side of our mouth, we say, don't do it. Stay at home, be in a bubble so I can control you, so I can feel good, so I can feel safe, right? So we confuse them. And then after the age of 15, 16, they begin to shut down and withdraw from us, and they disconnect from us because they don't feel as if we truly understand them, right? They feel as if we're always making it about us.
Right.
Right? So give me another example of your daughter coming to you and you made it about you. And then we're going to play that out as well.
Hi, mommy, can I sleep over at my friend's house? We're going to be far and I don't want to drive too late coming back home.
Beautiful. So let me be her and you tell us what you did, okay? Okay, so hey, mommy, I'm going for a sleepover and we're going to be fine. We don't want to, come home late at night. We don't want to drink. We don't want to drink and drive. So we're just going to be alone in the house and safe. And I hope that's okay. So how did you react in the past?
Did I react? Not sleeping over at anyone's house. I already told you, you know the rules. You can go on, but you have to come back home. This is not a hotel.
Mommy, I'm 18 years old. I'm going to be in college soon. How can I? You don't trust me.
We know the rules. You already know. No more.
Wow.
You have to come back.
So how did your daughter react when you just laid down the rules like that?
No, she will continue to persist until she's make me realize that, okay, she's going to be safe. She's right.
Do you see how frustrating it is for an 18-year-old to beg her mother to trust her? It's so hard for her to feel like, hey, mom, why don't you trust me?
Yeah, I can see that.
Right? Now, do you understand that very soon she's capable of living on her own? Do you understand that, mom?
Yeah, and she's already in college, actually. She's in her second year.
So what is this rule about no sleepovers, right? It makes no sense.
I know. In my mind, it's like she's putting on a drink or these negative thoughts,
Right. So
attack my mind.
Right. So let me ask you, what kind of teenager were you when you were young?
I had heard that very young, when I was 17.
There you go. There you go. It makes perfect sense to me. Do you see the connection? What is the connection?
I don't know that because I had her very young. So I don't know what it is to go and explore.
Yes.
And she has mentioned that to me.
Yes.
You had me at 17, but I'm a teenager. I want to go. You didn't have the opportunity, but I do want to have it. She had mentioned that to me.
Well, this is so profound. And this is how our past fears show up in the present. Two things I think have happened with you, if you don't mind me sharing. Number one, you actually did get pregnant and you actually did, quote unquote, kind of change your whole life in a totally different way that you don't want your daughter to do, right? So you actually have a fear based on your life. It actually happened to you. All of us get scared. What if my kid gets pregnant and, has a kid at 17, but it really happened to you? So no wonder you don't want her to go to a sleepover. No wonder you don't want her to have friends, because you're scared that something huge and cataclysmic will happen to her like it happened to you. And secondly, because you did not have a healthy teenage life, because your life was cut short so fast because of choices that you made, you are so afraid that her life will be cut short. So you know what you're doing? You're going to cut it short yourself. You're like, you don't leave my room. You just stay in the house and let me keep you protected. And so what you're doing is you're trying to control her because you felt out of control in your teenage life, you see?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're living out of this panic attack.
Yeah. And I also experienced, after having her and she was a little older, I experienced addiction and I went through very rough path. So that also scares me a lot. And I always tell her, I know how the world is outside, just like, and yeah, that's also part of why I know the fear comes up.
Yes, Mom, I want to tell you that the reason you went through all that is because you were in pain from your childhood. What kind of connection did you have to your mom and your dad?
My dad wasn't even around. I only met her once, and I talked to him probably a couple of times in my life.
Wait. So you did not meet your dad? He was not around?
No, he was not around.
Okay. And what kind of relationship did you have with your mom?
It's traditional parenting.
Yes. Yes.
In between that, it was okay. My mom was working all the time.
Yes. So here you are as a little girl. You did not have your father around. You were disconnected. You were probably feeling a lack of that relationship. You had a mother who was very busy, who was not around. You went looking for love in all the wrong places. You went looking for love through other people, through boys, and through drugs. And you're afraid that she's going to make the same mistake. So what you're really saying is not even that you don't trust your daughter. You don't trust your relationship with her because you don't trust yourself, that you are a different parent than your parents were.
That's true.
You are a different parent, and you did not have connected parents, which is why you became pregnant young, and which is why you went to drugs young. But guess what, Mirari? You are a connected parent, but you don't trust that.
Yeah, that's exactly what my confusion was. Like, am I hallucinating, and I think that's because I didn't have that.
Yes.
So I wasn't sure if that was I was just being so permissive, or it was that I had new ways and the other ways are kind of like, no, this is not how it goes.
Yes. The reason you suffered young is not because you were a bad person, and it wasn't because the world out there is scary. The reason you suffered when you were young is because you did not have parents who were connected to you. And this is where it's now in your hands to make the connection between you and your daughter strong so that she feels empowered to make better choices for herself. She's already showing you that you and she have a good connection, but your fear is making you mess up. Not her. She's not messing up. Your fear from your past is making you mess up right now.
Yeah, I can see it.
So you need to change the pattern. You need to change and break the old way and realize that, you know what? I am a connected mom. Children thrive when they are connected with their parents. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are, how amazing you are. It's not about you or the surroundings. It's all about the connection you have with your child. When you trust your daughter, when you show her that you see her, that you understand her, that you accept her, that is going to empower her. These are things you never got in your childhood, and that is why you're finding it hard to give to your daughter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for your honesty. I know it's going to help so many parents out there.
Thank you so much.
Both of these stories touch on such a central theme about teenagers, how our teens need us to connect to them, and how we often get caught up in the details of their behaviors, and we forget that at their core, our teens need us to see them, attune to them, trust them, and connect to them. Unless our teens feel that from us, our teens will disconnect from us, begin to hide and conceal from us, and actually withdraw and feel a sense of low self-worth. Connecting to our teens is crucial, and part of that connection involves a deep ability to trust them and to begin to allow them to carve their own path forward. If you felt you learned something about parenting in this episode, share it with those you love, and I will see you on the next episode of Parenting and You with me, Dr. Shefali. Parenting and You with Dr. Shefali is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional medical, psychological, psychotherapeutic, coaching, healthcare, or other qualified professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment.